The nervous system is a complicated and unknowable beast, responsible for communication between your body and brain and capable of sending you into an anxiety spiral at the drop of a hat just for funsies. Lucky for you, after both learning about the nervous system various times throughout our lives and retaining nothing, we finally locked that knowledge down, and we are here to bestow our hard-earned wisdom uponst you. Using the traditional umbrella mobile teaching model, Grace takes you on a ride down the Nervous System 101 and explains what it is, how it works, and why you should care about it. Meanwhile, Kristin does her very best to derail the conversation with a bunch of her penis talk and lobster facts, making this a true Maine podcast. Because of the lobsters, not the penis stuff, grow up.
They said that we'd grow out of it. Well, the joke's on them, that's just our brains. We're eccentric, loud, and stubborn, and most of our clothing is covered in stains. It's not a deficit of attention, there's just too much to think about. So if executive dysfunction becomes a little too much, if you forgot why you came in this room, or you're hypersensitive to touch, then put on your seamless socks and come join our little flock. Bitches stimming together, we're weirds of a feather, weirds of a feather.
I'm nervous about the nerve system.
Oh. Did you end up finding any listener questions or no?
I did not.
Damn it.
I deleted it. I'm sorry. I wish I wasn't.
Should we just make them up?
Well, I wanted to say where
Russ wants to know.
I'll post more warm up questions.
Okay.
In this week's polls.
Okay. That's
sorry.
too bad. R.I.P.
I'm sorry, listeners. I'm sorry.
That's why you never delete things.
I was like on a deleting spree and I deleted it.
Well, damn it. Do you have a warm-up question for us in its place?
Hold on.
All right. And while you're...
Oh, I think I had it. I put it for the other one. I put it for the bagel bite.
Won't we need one for the bagel bite?
Yeah, but I'll have plenty of time to think of another one.
So you say. All right.
We'll figure it out.
All right. Well, while you're doing that first, should we just get right into it? Introduce the pod?
Yeah.
The little potty?
Yes.
Potters potties. No, this isn't
Not
Potters
today.
potties. Psych, you guys wish. This is Weirds of a Feather, an ADHD-Adjacent podcast. I'm your host, Grace.
And I'm your host, Kristin. And we're here.
And here we are.
I have a warm-up question.
Okay.
What is a recurrent dream that you have?
Recurring dream.
A recurring dream. It can occur. Recurring means more than once.
Yes.
So at least twice.
Okay. Yeah. I know the definition.
Okay.
I just want to familiar with the term. I don't know. I always wake up. I have these very vivid dreams, and I feel like they're so vivid as I'm waking up, and I'm like, wow, I'm going to remember that forever. That was such a vivid dream. And then literally a minute later, it's completely left my brain.
No.
So
the same.
Yeah.
The one I have the most that I remember, I always remember my anxiety dreams. I have forgotten to do like some sort of assignment and it's due that day and I've forgotten. It's usually like a dissertation of some sort. How did I forget to do my dissertation?
How did you forget?
How did I forget?
This whole year and a half that you had. You just totally forgot.
This huge project.
Yep. Oh, you know one I used to have all the time when I was waitressing. I'm sure if you've served out there, you can relate to this. I would have a dream that I like forgot table whatever's like Pepsi because
yeah,
where it's like seeping into my brain at night because I really did forget table 7's Pepsi.
Right.
But now you like, remembered the Pepsi.
No.
Yeah. So I still will have those sometimes, even though I haven't served in a very long time.
Yeah. I've never written a dissertation before. But I still have those dreams.
That's weird.
Or some sort of big, like, 6 month to a year long project that I just have forgotten.
You just totally forgot
for months at a time, and then they're like, "It's due today," and you're like, "Oh, I don't."
Fuck.
I'm gonna need some extra time
on that dissertation.
Can I get a 1 week extension?
That'll do it.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So.
That's What's going on? Kristin and I have been together for like 4 hours now. We've been talking for 4 hours straight, which is stupid, and we do it every time.
Right. And then we're like, oh my God, we have a podcast to record.
We have to go now talk for like three more hours. And yet we do it every week.
Yep.
And
I wouldn't change it.
We're always like, next time we should save all our talks.
Our talks.
Save the talks for the pod where you talk. It's our job to talk. It's not our job. We elected ourselves for this position.
It's an elected position.
Yeah, it's
elected by ourselves.
Yeah. But our hobby is that we come here and talk a bunch. So I don't know why we do that. Probably because we can't help it.
It's our process.
We have ADHD.
And I don't think people should judge us for our own process.
Yeah, so stop judging us, guys. Cut it out. It's our artistic process.
Right.
It needs to happen.
Trust the process and we'll get it done.
We got to get all our talks out because you know what? The good thing is there's always more talks on the way, right behind it.
A surplus.
It's like shark's teeth. There's always another set back there.
I have so many animal facts today. I'm pumped.
All right. Yeah. We're not doing an animal podcast, but that won't stop Kristin from having a bunch of animal facts because today we're doing an ADHD learning corner and we're going to be talking about the nervous system.
Burr, burr, burr.
Woo! Woo! I'm nervous. That'll be the little like sound effect.
Okay.
So Kristin is going to artfully tie that into how lobsters don't have brains.
Yeah.
But before we get into the nervous system, I don't have a little accomplishment, but I want you to go first so I can think of a little accomplishment.
Okay. You've accomplished so many things.
Too many to pick.
My little accomplishment.
We need to do the song first.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Where are our heads?
Man.
All right. Ready?
Little accomplishments, but big in our hearts. At least one of us is carrying the team. My God.
But I'm lagging. But yeah, if it were just you.
We would never be here.
No. Because that'd be weird. Why are you recording your own podcast in my home?
My little accomplishment.
Yeah.
Getting on track here.
Yep, focus.
So we painted our living room. That's not my little accomplishment. And then we left like all of our furniture, our living room furniture in the middle of the living room for about a week and a half. And then all it took was Christopher's parents coming up for a weekend to get everything back in order. And that's what we did. So now my living room is back. I mean, we don't have a couch. We have camp chairs instead of a couch right now because I'm trying to find a couch. But
what you have is arranged in a living room type setup.
It looks like a room where you could live.
All right. Well, that's all you could ask for in a living room.
There you are. Yeah.
Congratulations. I'm proud of you.
Yeah. So we both said after we cleaned the entire house too. And I was like, we should have more people over so we like clean things.
Yeah. You need that external pressure.
Yeah. When it's just us, it's not great.
It's just us. No, I'm the same way. I need that external force.
Mm-hmm. And it's not you, because if it's you, it doesn't matter. I'm sorry. But
I mean, you've seen the state of my home. Clearly,
I love
it doesn't do it for me either when you're coming over.
It's going to be someone else.
It's Kristin. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah. She's fine.
She'll change our toilet paper rolls.
Yeah, she can clean our
toilets. Which I did today.
She can sleep on a pile of coats. She's fine.
Yeah. And I have.
Yes.
All right. So we should get into our meat. Oh, wait. Yeah. No. You need it. No, I'm so sorry.
No, that's all right.
You said you didn't have one.
I got nothing to celebrate.
No, I want to celebrate with you. What do you have to celebrate? I'm sorry, I forgot about your accomplishment.
That's the noise that Ian and I do when we're doing Lucy's voice, that she's like distraught that we're eating something without her. It's like, oh, guys, oh, you guys are, oh,
is that steak?
Oh, Lucy never gets anything. Oh, Grace never gets to share her little accomplishments. No, I have thought of one.
Okay.
I have it. I got it.
All right.
I called and went to the eye doctor.
Oh, you went?
Yes, I went last week.
Because you have an eye crisis.
I'm having an eyeball problem.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's a problem with your balls.
I got ball problems. So my right eye has been bothering me for a very long time, and I just like haven't gone.
Bothering how so?
I wake up and it's like super, super watery. Mm-hmm. It feels like something's poking in the corner of my eye. Sometimes it feels like there's glass in the corner of my eye.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it always feels like there's something in there. I've like gone crazy and plucked all my eyelashes out in the corner of my eye, like
That's
convinced
fair.
that it was eyelashes like poking in.
It wasn't. It's a real thing. That's a real thing that can happen.
Yes, you can get like an ingrown eyelash.
Yep. Or you can get like I forget if it's an
sty.
It's a trope. Now I gotta look it up. Hold on. Cue the music. Okay.
Yep.
An entropion, I couldn't think of the name, but that's what it is a condition where your eyelid folds inwards and then all your eyelashes rub on the thing.
Oh, God. Yeah. It's not that.
Mm-hmm.
Good thing we paused the podcast for so long
Yep.
to go look
Yep.
that up.
I feel better now. It's like one of those things that was going to bother me later.
Yep. But I was thinking, you know, it could be like a dry eye thing. So I got a bunch of eye drops, but it's worse in the morning. And normally when you have like really dry eyes, especially from being on the computer all the time, which I am, normally it would get worse as the day goes on. But mine is worse in the morning when I wake up. It's like my eyes like dripping and it's just like really, really irritating me. And I'm just like fucking with it. And it can ruin my whole day. It really pisses me off. And then I have to like go stare at my computer. It just puts me in a bad mood. And I just like haven't made a doctor's appointment for it.
Yeah.
Because I've never gone to the eye doctor before. I've never had an eye doctor. I've always had perfect vision. No brag, but brag. Brag. So it just seemed like an overwhelming task. And I also have the whole thing where it's like I've gone to the doctor for other things like my hip pain and nothing is ever found. There's no solution ever found and no one can ever help me. So it's like, well, what's the fucking point? So I think I've just like not wanted to go in. But I finally made my appointment last week because it was like an emergency at that point because my eyeball was just like, it really legitimately felt like there was glass in my eye.
Yeah.
So I went in. She thinks it's like this severe dry eye condition, but it's only in my right eye, which is crazy. Oh, and she was also like, which I laughed about, she was like, can you have your husband check and see if like you sleep with your right eye a little bit open when you sleep?
Always sleep with one eye open.
You know me. And I was like, that's silly. And I told him about it. And then he checked and he's like, yeah, you sleep with your right eye a little bit open. And I was like, what the fuck? So,
son of a gun.
Yeah. So Kristin is going to bring me, or I have to buy because she forgot it.
Sorry.
Surgical tape or
paper tape.
Paper tape. To tape my eyeball shut.
You gotta tape your eyeball shut.
Yeah. Because I guess I'm fluttering it open and then it's like drying out.
Yeah. We do it all the time for people under anesthesia because it's quite common that people just leave their eyes open.
That makes sense.
And then they get really dry eyes when they wake up from anesthesia. So you just tape those suckers shut.
Yeah. So I think I'm just going to do that with my right eye and see if it helps.
Yeah.
Because I think they'll help me narrow it down because I don't know. It feels like there's something in there. But she says it's not, that she can see. And she has me trying all these goopy eye drops and blah, blah, blah. And
your eye looks great today.
Actually, I talked to Tracy about it. Tracy Otsuka from ADHD for Smartest Women with Tracy Otsuka. But she was saying that she also always had really, really dry eyes. They were always bothering her. And then while she's working on a book right now. And when she started working on the book, she realized just how dehydrated she was because she realized like how much water we're supposed to drink. And she said she started drinking 64 ounces of water every day. And then her eyes stopped bothering her.
Does she have one of those water bottles that has like the marks like 10 a.m., 11 a.m.?
No.
And then like those like passive aggressive messages being like, you can do it. It's like, it's fucking water.
No, that doesn't sound like her.
Okay.
I think she would hate that. She's like,
I hate that.
Yeah.
I hate when people have that. And I'm like, how? Why?
Yeah, I'd be like, you know what? I'm not going to drink any water today just to fucking spite you,
This
water bottle that I bought.
told me to do this thing, and now I'm not going to do the thing.
Yeah, I think it would trigger my defiance. No, I use these big-ass kombucha glass bottles now.
That's nice.
And I'm chugging them. So I'm also seeing if that makes a difference, too. It could be like all of these factors together, or it could be something totally different. But at least I've started the journey finally after literally like a year of this bothering me.
That's lovely.
So, woohoo! I'm proud of myself.
I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Now
we have meat that we need to get into.
Yes. It is the meat.
It is the meat.
Can we do a transition? Because I'm just feeling a little flustered.
A little meaty transition.
Yeah, can we do a meaty transition?
Meaty transition.
Meaty transition.
Meaty transition.
It's a meaty transition.
Meat.
Transition.
Meat.
All right, welcome back from that transition. I'm glad we remembered those and we're doing them again.
Yep.
People love them.
I feel better now that we've done that.
Right?
Yep.
It really just
resets
you.
Yep. I am reset.
Yep.
I'm ready for this meat.
All right. So our meat for today, like we said, we're going to give a little overview of the nervous system.
Woo!
Woo! Because I make a lot of comments kind of offhandedly about the nervous system.
Yep.
And, how to regulate your nervous system and being dysregulated. But I thought it was important to actually kind of go into like what that means and what the nervous system is, because it's kind of complicated. And I do want to, in future episodes, go deeper into like, ways to regulate your nervous system, ways to increase your vagal tone, things like that have to do with like neurodivergent specific dysregulation and like fight or flight and anxiety. It even ties into anxiety. But I feel like until we get into all of that, I really just want to give, do the nervous system 101 so we can all kind of get on the same page because we all have different backgrounds. And I've taken neuroscience multiple times in undergrad and grad school. And even then, I feel like it's very hard for me to kind of understand because there's so many it branches off into so many different areas.
Yeah.
So
there's a lot of big technical terms
Yes.
too. So it's like, what are we talking about?
Yeah. So I feel like today's going to be an episode of like getting our bearings of like, what is the nervous system? What does it do? And like, what areas are we talking about specifically when it comes to like being in fight or flight?
Yep.
When it comes to, having anxiety in your body, when it comes to doing those somatic therapies that I talk about that are like body-based therapies. So yeah, this will give us a solid foundation. And then, in the future,
yeah,
we'll have this episode to ref.
Yeah.
Reference.
So for a translation, in the future, we can all reference this episode if we ever have a question about something.
Yeah, we'll have the foundation. The ref.
I also want to add that we're going to be talking about penises a lot. So
yep, get ready.
Get ready for that penis talk.
Yes. Get your giggles out now.
I can't. They're going to keep
They're
coming.
going to come. Yeah, because we're talking about the peripheral nervous system, which is abbreviated by PNS. And
if you say it quickly, you're saying penis.
Yeah, or it just sounds like you're saying penis with an extra syllable in there for some reason because you're being weird. Penis.
I think we should change the name of penis to penis.
Penis. Yeah.
It almost sounds like you're saying pianist.
Ooh, and then it's fancy.
It's a fancy penis.
Yeah.
Who is musically talented.
It just reminds me of the New Girl episode where Jess won't say the word penis and she's like, penis. So, all right, guys, enough giggles about the penis.
They're going to keep coming.
I know. I can't help it. But yes, there'll be a lot of penises, lots of
lobster talk.
Yeah, and lots of laughs.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, this is informational heavy, so we're going to try and break it up with some fun facts and some penises. About lobsters for some reason. I have like one major fact about lobster, and then it went into a deep, dark hole, and I'll tell you about it later.
Okay.
I got hyperfixated one day at work. Well, I was bored. Sometimes we get a lot of downtime, and this is what I research.
It's important stuff.
Yep.
All right. So for today's episode, I got a lot of my information from Anna, the anxiety coach on Instagram. I had to follow her. An anxiety therapist. Yeah, I love her. She's great, and she always provides references at the end of her posts. So you can see like the scientific articles that all of her info has been pulled from, which is really great. It's not just like
that's awesome.
Someone making infographics on Instagram. You're like, I guess I trust you.
I hope this is right.
Hopefully you're qualified. Yeah. So she does some really great posts on Instagram that really kind of like, because there's so much to the nervous system. Like, guys, there's so much. And it's hard to even like figure out where to start when we're talking about how to like regulate your nervous system. So she does a really great job of breaking things down into posts and kind of talking about different aspects of regulation, different aspects of your nervous system. So go check her out. And then I'm also using an article on verywellmind.com. This may not be like the best resource, I feel like, but it gives a really good breakdown of the nervous system, which can be very complicated. And so it's like it was just very well organized and kind of like a pretty simple as this can be, explanation of the nervous system.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not trying to like take a dry research paper and like format it into an easy to understand episode, because I have a hard time keeping track of this stuff myself. And
I had to look it up.
Yeah. I've literally learned about this so many different times throughout my life. And just, I feel like with all stuff in the brain, it's just like, I have no reference point, because it's just kind of abstract information.
Like, oh, the medulla and the hippocampus. And I'm like, those are things.
A teacher I used to work with, Helena in Oregon, this will always stick with me. She was explaining the hippocampus for some reason in a staff meeting. We were talking about the hippocampus, and she said she learned it this way, and now I'll always remember it. The hippocampus stores your memories for you, and picture a hippo walking across campus to take your memories from short-term memory to long-term memory. So it's Lucy.
Jesus Christ. So break in the potluck.
Someone's here. Go away.
Oh my God, this scared the shit out of me.
So yeah, you can remember it like a hippo delivering your memories across campus.
I like that a lot.
Right?
I think that's great.
All right. So those are my resources, and let's crack on into this.
Yeah.
So first of all, what is the nervous system and why should I care about it? It's like I'm always talking about it. So why should you care about it? And here's why. I'll tell you.
Okay.
So the nervous system plays a role in nearly every aspect of your health and well-being.
It sure does.
It's how your brain and body communicate, and it's what allows you to function optimally. So like be at homeostasis. It allows you to handle challenges and navigate life. It guides your everyday activities such as waking up, breathing, thinking, reading, remembering, and feeling emotions. And we all love to feel those emotions.
It's like why you're a human.
Yeah. It's essentially.
And like a creature, because you can have like muscle fibers and organs separately, but how do your muscles know when to contract, and how do your organs know when to digest food?
Yeah, so it's like the communication network for all of that. Yeah.
It's the Facebook of your body.
No.
It's the text messaging of your body. It's the.
We can just say communication. People understand the communication network.
Yeah. I tried,
but I appreciate you trying to make it relatable. The nervous system is made up of your central nervous system, which is your CNS.
Yes.
And that is your brain and your spinal cord. So your CNS is just the brain and the spinal cord.
Yes.
And then your peripheral nervous system, or the PNS. Good thing we gave that warning that it was going to happen, because it's happening. So you have your central nervous system and then your peripheral nervous system.
Yep.
And that's what we'll be focusing on today, is the PNS. So the peripheral nervous system, it's hard to say peripheral, but it's also hard to say PNS.
You gotta pick one.
Damn it.
PNS.
All right, I'll go with PNS. All right, the PNS is everything outside of your brain and spinal cord. So everything that's not the central nervous system is the peripheral nervous system.
Yes.
So this includes all of the nerves that branch out from the brain and spinal cord and extend to other parts of the body, including the muscles and organs.
Mm-hmm.
So if you look up you can look up a picture of the CNS and PNS, and it will show, just like a million different branches all throughout your body.
It's like a huge web all over your body.
Yep. And that is the peripheral nervous system.
I have a fun fact.
Yeah.
About lobsters.
Oh, here it is.
Here it is. This is my number one fun fact. They don't have a brain. They have no brain. Could you imagine all that meat, no brain?
All meat, no brain?
Yeah. They have a nervous system. It's very primitive. It's most similar to an insect, because they're basically an insect.
Mm.
Some people you'll see in diagrams, there's something labeled as a brain, but it's not what a brain like you and I have that has like multiple segments, and it is basically part of their peripheral nervous system. Is just like an extra big cluster of neurons, which are the cells that make up your nervous system. And yeah, that's my fun fact. They don't have a brain.
So they don't have like cognitive functions, but they have more like automatic,
I guess so,
functions.
I'm not a lobster.
Like they don't have to consciously think like move my hand. It's just like their hand moves.
I don't know, because
you're not a lobster?
I'm not a lobster.
Okay.
I don't know what the lobster's thinking, because I'm not one.
No one can know.
Maybe we'll have to have one on the podcast.
Yeah, maybe
we'll
have to get a lobster's point of view.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Lobster fact. All right. The primary role of the PNS is to connect the central nervous system, the CNS, to the organs, the limbs, and the skin. So like we said, it's like the communication network. It connects everything to your central nervous system. So the peripheral nervous system allows your brain and spinal cord to receive and send information to other areas of the body, which allows us to react to stimuli in our environment. So it's a crucial two-way communication network between your body and brain. So it goes both ways, where your body is receiving input, sending it to the brain, and then your brain also is sending messages to your body.
In response to that input.
Yes. Back and forth and back and forth.
Yeah. All day.
Yep.
Like Facebook.
You're intent on using this Facebook analogy. So yes, just like Facebook. We all currently are active on Facebook. We love it. All right. So far, guys, just to like get our bearings, because I feel like already we're going to like umbrella down into more things. And this is where it kind of gets like a thing within a thing within a thing, a bunch of sub layers. So overarching the big umbrella is your nervous system,
That's the big all encompassing.
Yes. So if this is a family tree, there's not one person. No, never mind. Scrap that.
It's different.
It's an umbrella. Go with an umbrella. And then for some reason, we're going to have a bunch of things hanging down from this umbrella.
No, you're going to separate it into two.
Yep. So you have the nervous system. Within the nervous system, so drop down 2 lines, dropping down.
Yep.
You have your central nervous system.
Brain and spinal cord.
Yep. And then you have your peripheral nervous system.
All your other neurons ever.
Yes. So everything else. All right. So today we're just focusing on that peripheral nervous system, the PNS. So forget the CNS.
Forget the brain.
Exists. Yeah. Forget about the brain.
Usually we're always talking about the brain. Not today.
Yes. We're talking about the body. Is that you?
That was me.
What is recording rule number 1?
Well, no, this, I
Always have a
promised.
smile. Recording rule number 2, turn off your phone. Where were we before we were so rudely interrupted?
So we've got umbrella.
So we're talking
we got
about the PNS. Yes.
PNS. Forget the brain.
Yeah,
We're
forget about
usually
the brain.
talking about the brain. Not today. We're talking about everything else.
Yes. All right. We're looking at that PNS, staring straight into the eye of the PNS.
Yeah, smaller. It's its own umbrella.
Yes. Yeah. New umbrella.
New umbrella.
So under that main umbrella is now a smaller umbrella.
Yes.
This is some kind of umbrella mobile.
Yeah.
For
exactly
some
what it
reason,
is.
right?
Yeah. Now we have to make this umbrella mobile.
Yeah, I kind of want this visual. It's very helpful
It's
to think
very
about
helpful.
it in these
Yeah.
terms. All right, you got your second smaller umbrella, the PNS. This one is divided into 2 systems as well, okay? So it's divided into the somatic nervous system and the autonomic nervous system.
Mm-hmm.
The somatic system is responsible for carrying sensory and motor information to and from the central nervous system. The somatic nervous system derives its name from the Greek word soma, which means body. So that will help you remember it. Like I always talk about somatic therapies, body-based therapies. Body. It's responsible for transmitting sensory information as well as for controlling voluntary movement. The system contains 2 major types of neurons: motor neurons, which carry information from the brain and spinal cord to the muscle fibers throughout the body. And these motor neurons allow us to take physical action in response to stimuli in the environment. So like if someone throws you a ball, your motor neurons will travel from the brain and spinal cord to your arm and be like, hey, there's stimuli, there's a ball coming towards us, put up your hand and catch it, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
it will communicate to the muscles that need to, like your deltoid and your biceps and triceps and your brachioradialis or whatever, to lift your arm up and catch this ball.
Catch this ball. Yep. So those are motor neurons. And then we also have sensory neurons. And these carry information from the nerves to the central nervous system. So we're talking about that 2-way communication. So the motor neurons go from your brain and spinal cord out. And then the sensory neurons go from out in. So they carry information from the nerves to the central nervous system. The sensory neurons allow us to take in sensory information and send it to the brain and spinal cord. So like you touching something, your fingers have sensory neurons in there, and they'll send it up that peripheral nervous system to your brain and let you know what you're touching.
Yes.
Yes?
Yes. And depending on where in the body those neurons are, like our fingertips have many more sensory neurons and receptors than our like back. So if I poke you in the back, you're going to be like, oh, that's a poke. But if I poke you with 2 fingers, you're not going to really be able to decipher whether or not those are 1 or 2 fingers. Whereas if I poked your hand with 1 finger or 2 fingers, you're going to know.
Because it's much more important for your hand to be able to like have that fine understanding of what you're touching. Yeah. As opposed to your back. Okay. So to get our bearings.
Yes.
All right. I hope I'm not. I feel like I'm the only one that's confused by this, and everyone else is
I
like,
think
"Yeah,
you're
we're
doing a great
following
job.
along."
Yeah, you know what? I think we should post some sort of infographic, whether we have to like draw it ourselves or something.
Of the umbrella mobile.
Yeah.
Yes.
I would love to make an umbrella mobile, but that sounds.
Paper mache.
I was gonna say, what if we Mod Podged an umbrella mobile?
Yeah, let's do it. That could be our first project.
I love it.
I love it too.
Okay,
I really want to make this happen.
I'm ready.
All right.
I have so much cardboard. I'm ready.
Okay, perfect. Let's do it. Put it on the list.
On the list.
All right. So to return, we're under the PNS smaller umbrella.
Yep.
And within that, we have the somatic system. That's what we just talked about. That's where we have our motor neurons and our sensory neurons.
Third umbrella underneath. It's another smaller umbrella underneath the PNS.
Yes. And then next to that, also under the PNS, another smaller third umbrella. They're twins, the somatic, but not twins, not identical. just
Fraternal
twins.
I get it. I understand.
You're with me. Thank you.
I'm with you. I am.
Yep.
It's going to make more sense if we post a Umbrella Mobile.
You're right. Yeah. And please refer to the Umbrella Mobile to get a reference point for this. Yeah. So then our other third little umbrella fraternal twin to the somatic system is the autonomic system. So while the somatic system is responsible for the movements that you do control, so the voluntary movements, the autonomic system is things that are involuntary.
Yeah.
So the autonomic system is responsible for regulating involuntary bodily functions such as blood flow, heartbeat, digestion, and breathing. In other words, it's the autonomic system that controls aspects of the body that are not usually under voluntary control. Duh.
Right. So like if you start to go for a run, your neurons that control your leg muscles and making sure that you're flexing and bending your legs appropriately to make you run, that is the somatic system. However, the neurons that control you're now running, you need more oxygen to those muscles, so your blood vessels are going to dilate and get you more oxygen to those muscles. That you're not like consciously doing that, you're just doing that. That's the autonomic.
Yes, that's a good way to put it. This system allows for all those functions to take place without us needing to consciously think about it. Like, even with breathing, unless you, like sometimes you'll consciously think about breathing and then it feels weird to breathe.
Yeah.
But when you're not paying attention, your body just breathes without you having to
You're
do
not
it.
like, oh my God, I forgot to breathe.
Yeah. So
that's not a thing. Even if you become unconscious because you're consciously trying to not breathe, when you knock yourself out, your body will resume breathing for you. Your conscious mind doesn't really control that, and good thing, because I'd forget all the time to breathe if I had to like think about breathing. Could you imagine?
To regulate my heartbeat,
right? Being like, beat faster,
or digest.
Yeah,
it's like I forgot to digest my food yesterday. Thank God that's not on our plate. Can you imagine more tasks?
There probably was like a creature like that, and then it like instantly died.
Yes, we would definitely die. I just forgot to make my blood flow today.
Right. Dang it.
Yep. All right. So this is the last little drop down of more tiny umbrellas, I promise.
Yes.
If these are Russian nesting dolls, these are the last two.
The last.
Although
fraternal
they're twins again. They're twins again. I got to stick with one analogy.
Yeah,
forget the Russian nesting dolls.
Forget the
Russian
nesting
dolls.
Yeah,
it's not like that at all.
Back to umbrellas.
Umbrella mobile.
Yeah, back to the umbrella mobile. So under the autonomic.
Yeah, so under the autonomic.
To the umbrella mobile.
Yes. All right, so the autonomic system.
Yeah.
Within that umbrella, that's the third umbrella.
Mm-hmm.
Under that, we have two fraternal, more twin, fourth umbrellas.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm right
Jesus
here.
Christ.
I'm right with you.
Thank you. And I'm sure everyone else is as well.
Yeah.
If it helps, you could draw out the umbrella mobile for yourself as we're talking. See if you get it right. See if
send in your umbrella mobile ideas.
Yeah. See if we're lining up with our vision.
Sure.
All right. So our fourth little umbrellas. So under the autonomic system, these are things that are involuntary.
Yep.
We have our sympathetic system and our parasympathetic system. So this is really when we're talking about fight or flight. This is why I want to talk about fight or flight, but it's really hard to have this conversation until we like give this base layer, because it's like we had to work our way all the way down all these umbrellas. We had to rain down to the very bottom.
We just needed like a roadmap for the nervous system, because there's a lot of things that we're talking about, and it's nice to have a big picture of like, where are we on a roadmap? A mobile roadmap.
Yeah. All right. We have the sympathetic system and the parasympathetic system. The sympathetic system regulates your fight or flight response, and it prepares your body to expend energy to respond to environmental threats. So when action is needed, like let's say we're cave people again.
Yep.
You hear a tiger in the bush.
Oh boy.
So when action is needed, which in that situation, action is needed, the sympathetic system triggers a response by accelerating your heart rate, increasing breathing rate, boosting blood flow to muscles, activating sweat secretion, and dilating the pupils. So those are all things that get you ready to run, ready to like fight.
Run or fight.
Yes. Whatever your response is or whatever it's called for in that situation, your body's preparing you to have to exert this extra energy to like survive.
Yep.
The parasympathetic system is there to bring you back down after you've gone through your fight or flight. So the parasympathetic system helps maintain normal body functions and conserve physical resources. So once the threat has passed, this system will slow the heart rate, in theory. It will
to
slow,
like a normal rate.
yes.
Right. Like back from.
Yes. It's not going to slow your heart rate like super slow.
Right.
It's going to bring it back down to homeostasis.
Right.
Yes. So it will slow back down the heart rate. It will slow your breathing back down. It will reduce that blood flow back to a normal state, and it will constrict the pupils. So those are all just re-regulation. And this allows the body to return to a normal resting state.
The parasympathetic system is why you're always cold after lunch, because all your blood goes to your stomach because you're digesting. Your stomach and your organs. Fun.
Oh, so then
it's shunting all of your resources from your outer body, your muscles and stuff. You don't need, after lunch, you're just resting and digesting. And you don't need to like be in fight or flight mode. So you're going to feel your arms and legs are going to feel cold because most of your energy is going into energy, as in your blood flow and all the actions taking place to digest food, which is a parasympathetic process. If you are fighting a tiger, you are not actively digesting your food at the same time.
Yes. Yeah. And
that's on standby.
Yes. And so when we talk about fight or flight, you can be stuck in this kind of permanent fight or flight response state where your sympathetic system is being triggered. It's agitated. You're like sensing a threat nearby. But because of, repeated stress, because of environmental reasons, because of trauma, because of whatever it is, when we talk about anxiety, this is tied to anxiety. Your parasympathetic system is not regulating you back down to that normal resting state. So you're staying in that constant alert fight or flight state because your body and your brain are like reacting as if there's always a threat around.
There's always a tiger in the bush.
Yes. And that's kind of like what anxiety is. It's not just that, but at the nervous system level, that's what's happening.
Yeah.
That's why anxiety happens. Your body isn't able to re-regulate. You're not able to go through the full cycle of, okay, there's a threat. I'm activated. I've dealt with a threat, whether it's fight or run or whatever.
Yep.
And then come back down. Like that's a full cycle that like we were talking about that TikTok of an antelope who was chased by a lion and then he got away. And then you can see him like shaking because that's him going through that full process of getting out of that fight or flight, re-regulating himself.
Yeah. I have a fun fact.
Yeah.
It's about a penis, not the peripheral nervous system, but an actual penis, like a dick.
So we are talking penises.
We are talking penises.
All right. What you got?
Fun fact. And this is what I learned in PA school, and this is what stuck rather than important information. So for people with penises to have an erection and have it until completion, so to like ejaculate.
It's so medical.
The parasympathetic system helps them maintain an erection because, the blood is going to the penis. It is not, it's not your muscles. You're not fighting off a tiger with an erection. Maybe you are.
Maybe you are.
I mean,
maybe you're fully torqued.
That is different. That's not what we're talking about today.
That's your own thing.
Right? I don't want to kink shame anybody, but
to each their own.
Yeah, but most people are not fully erect while in the fight or flight mode because that takes your parasympathetic nervous system. But in order to have an ejaculation, in order to ejaculate, I
believe you said shoot and you gave me a little finger gun earlier.
Hold on, I'm not done.
Okay.
That takes the sympathetic nervous system. Yeah. So in order to, because it's always a test question, because I feel like teachers are just weird. It's always a test question. And so in order to remember it, which one's which is the point and shoot. So you point parasympathetic to get an erection, and then you shoot, ejaculate sympathetic, point and shoot. That's what I learned in school. That's like the one thing I remember.
Super helpful.
Yeah, I'm glad I spent all those years in school.
Thank God. Worth every penny.
Yep.
And super valuable to this conversation.
I'm in loans. I have so much student debt, and that's what I learned.
It was all worth it.
All worth it, because now I'm here sharing my knowledge.
Yeah, it was all for the podcast.
Yep.
Paid off.
Anyway.
Anyway, I got a little bit more.
Yeah, I know you do. And it's probably way more important.
No, definitely not. That's the most important number one thing.
People are going to walk away learning nothing but point and shoot from this episode.
I hope not. I really want them to learn about fight or flight. That's really what we're here to talk about.
listeners,
is fight or flight. Forget the penis thing.
You need to remember and learn at least one more thing other than point and shoot.
Please, God.
It could be that lobsters have no brain. Oh, I have another lobster fact.
One of my facts. You need one of my facts in there.
You need one Grace fact and one Kristin fact from this episode.
You don't need a Kristin fact, but it'll probably stick in your brain.
Yeah, I have a lobster fact.
All right, save it, lobster woman. We're so on the nose with a Maine podcast.
I just
talking about lobster facts.
I went
you
down
have any lighthouse facts as well.
No. I just went down a lobster fact internet hole.
Okay,
and now I'm just full of spewing with facts,
overflowing with lobster facts.
They taste with their legs. Okay. Continue.
Interesting. Okay. So your nervous system naturally moves through different states of safety and connection, like during the day, as well as survival states like fight, flight, or freeze. So like those are all natural processes that happen. Fight, flight, or freeze is there to keep you safe. So it's like natural for our bodies to go through it. However, when you experience anxiety and stress, this activates your sympathetic nervous system, the one that shoots.
Yes.
But that's not even what I want my example to be.
Yep.
The one that gets you like aroused into fight or flight.
Aroused.
Yep. Gets your penis aroused.
No. That's parasympathetic.
No. But your PNS, it gets your PNS aroused. Your peripheral nervous system.
Sure. Fight or flight mode, so more blood and resources to the muscles. Your pupils dilate, your heart rate goes faster. That is so yes.
Yes. So when you're feeling anxious or stressed, it's activating that sympathetic nervous system. So you're in that fight or flight.
Mm-hmm.
So we talked about how you aren't digesting during that time.
Right.
Because it's putting pause on certain functions of the body that aren't necessary for survival.
Right.
So I'll talk about it in the next part of this episode because I didn't want to go deep into it because I could. But a sign of you being in that constant fight or flight and having a problem with regulating your nervous system is a lot of digestion problems.
God.
Whether it's like nausea and even like constipation because your digestion is slowed down. It can be having a dry mouth because your saliva output is decreased when you're in fight or flight because you're not like getting ready to eat a meal. Obviously, it can cause a lot of digestion problems on top of like tiredness problems, heart rate problems, breathing problems, like a lot of different problems. But yeah, the digestion one I feel like is something that we don't really think about that's in connection with anxiety. But if you're feeling anxious, that means your sympathetic nervous system is activated. And then, your body isn't focusing on digestion. And if you're staying in that state for a prolonged period of time, you're not really going to have a big appetite. You're going to have really dry mouth. Mm-hmm. You're going to have, all these different digestion problems,
right?
Which makes total sense. But you would
sleep
never be
disturbances.
Yep, sleep disturbances. So while all of these states happen automatically and outside of our conscious control, like we talked about, you're not controlling your heart rate. They are influenced and shaped by your life experiences and level of stress or ongoing stressors in your environment. So while we're not consciously controlling the autonomic nervous system, we're still putting ourselves in, different environments and being surrounded by stressors that are like activating it. So we can control at least like what we're putting our body into and our brains into. Mm-hmm. So if these stressors and experiences are not addressed, they shift your nervous system into a constant state of activation and fight or flight mode. The state of activation is useful for dealing with and managing stressors in the short term, but in the long term, it does not allow your body and mind to heal, restore, and relax. And we already talked about how that will obviously affect, your heart rate, your sleeping patterns, your digestion, your everything, really. I'm not going to talk about healing your nervous system today because then I have to go into like the vagus nerve and all these different things. And I feel like we've done a lot of info already, just like getting you guys acclimated to this complex umbrella system for some reason. But I just wanted to touch on like why I care so much about the nervous system and why I really want everyone else to care so much about the nervous system and why it's so important to heal and like what you can do about it. So a healthy nervous system can be trained and nurtured to allow you to move back into states of calm, grounded connection with yourself and others, as well as allowing you to move through challenges and then return to that parasympathetic rest and digest system with ease. By tuning into your nervous system, you can gently begin to expand and reclaim your ability to create safety, experience presence and range of emotions without being swept up in triggering or challenging moments. So there are things you can do to remind your body and give your body like some sensory input that you are safe and that everything is okay and that you don't need to be in this fight or flight. So when I talk about somatic therapies, those body-based therapies, because none of this is consciously in your control, we kind of do have to do body-based therapies, the bottom-up therapies, to first regulate your nervous system before you can cognitively add on more things. Like we talked about, like CBT may be great if your body isn't in fight or flight. You know, it may be great for, you know, changing these thought patterns that are really like not based in truth and are, you know, really leading to some cognitive anxiety of, you know, spiraling about these negative thoughts. But that's not going to be helpful if you're not first regulating your nervous system. Because when you're in fight or flight, we talk about, you know, the unimportant systems are kind of cut off during that time. Like higher level cognitive processes are also cut off during that time. You're not able to use your full range of cognitive processing when your body's like just trying to survive. And so those higher level thinking cognitive therapies really can't do much if your body is having all these like reactions that are totally, you know, out of your conscious control. I will, when we do a part 2 and then probably a part 3 about this, I'll dive more into fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. Now we're talking about that fawn response as well. And we see that a lot in neurodivergent people, especially of when you're in danger, your reaction is kind of to like people please, to stay safe by people pleasing. I feel like it's important to talk about that one as well. And I'll talk about vagal tone, your vagal nerve, and kind of like how to tell that your nervous system is dysregulated. But for now, I just want you guys to kind of munch on that and kind of try to.
That was a big bite.
That was a big bite.
Yeah, but I think you explained it really well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
To recap, there's many different parts of your nervous system, and then the one that has to relate to your body is the peripheral nervous system, the PRIA nerves.
Yes.
And then within that, there's what happens automatically and what you voluntarily control. And under what happens automatically, there's fight or flight or rest and digest, I guess. And that would be, so the sympathetic system would be the fight or flight, and then rest and digest would be the parasympathetic.
Great. Well, hopefully you guys got that.
Yeah.
We really had to make it complicated by talking about the PNS and then real penises
and
for some reason.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry. I had to share my knowledge.
Add that extra layer of confusion.
You had this like nice outline, and I had to ruin it with my lobster facts and penis talk. But I have one more lobster fact.
All right.
Let's hear it. Lobster fact. Their shells were once used to make golf balls.
What?
Yeah.
How so?
This is from Time magazine. Shells left over after lobster processing are usually tossed into landfills. So in an effort to make them worth something and keep money in the lobster industry, a University of Maine professor created golf balls where the cores are made out of lobster shells. They're also biodegradable, designed for golfing on cruise ships or courses near oceans and lakes.
Wow.
Isn't that great?
I didn't know that. That's a good
Fun
lobster fact.
Yes. Thank you, University of Maine professor.
And lobster shells are really great for your compost as well.
Oh, it's an NPR article. They have a whole 3-minute listenable thing.
Nah, I'm good. I feel like I got the gist.
We'll post it in the references.
It'll just be a more drawn out version of what you just said, probably.
Yeah, basically, lobsters are now golf balls.
Yep. That's all you need to know. Lobsters are golf balls.
If
you've learned anything from this episode,
that's my lobster fact. Yeah. Thank you for explaining that. It was a good refresher because I remember learning that in school, and I remember that being very confusing.
Yes.
But now
I feel like this is the best I've learned it.
Yes.
Turns out when you do the work yourself
and then have to teach it.
Yes. That's really the only way that I learn things. Because otherwise I'm like, I think I got the gist of it.
Yeah.
But having to really explain it makes me have to realize like, no, I don't know if I do have the gist of it.
I'm the same way. Actually, when I studied in grad school, I have my one study buddy, Melanie, and she's a good listener and I am a good talker.
Yes.
So we would sit for hours, either like at a Chipotle or somewhere. And I would go over and explain everything to her. And she would point out, like, I don't think that's true. I think you have that backwards. And then
That's a
other
good
people,
system.
other people actually wanted to get into the system. And I had to tell them, I go, listen, you're allowed to listen, but you are not allowed to participate. We have a system, and you can take notes. And if you see something blatantly wrong, then sure, speak up. But other than that, you're not allowed. And some people got it, and some people we had to kick out of our little study group. You're not following the rules.
They're explicit rules. This weird system.
This works for me, and it works for her, and it's a mutual relationship. And if you want to like parasitically benefit off of that, that's fine. But don't ruin it.
Yeah, don't disrupt the ecosystem. Yeah, I feel like the nervous system is so hard for me to wrap my brain around because there's so many umbrellas under another umbrella under another umbrella.
Right.
And so you hear someone talk about the parasympathetic nervous system, but I'm like, all right, well, what is that? Because I know there's a central nervous system and a peripheral one, but also a somatic one, but also, there's just like so many. And unless you understand that they're all like falling underneath each other.
Yes.
It's like, how many fucking nervous systems do I have? There's like 7
I
of them.
feel like they're often talked about separately, but not in relation with one another. I think this is the first time that I've understood that they're all in relation to each other and how that relation works.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you.
Right. So I guess I did a pretty good job.
I'm impressed. I have learned quite a bit today.
I'm impressed too, because my brain has a really hard time with taking this information and like organizing it because there's so many different parts to it.
Yeah.
So yeah. All right. Turns out when I do the work, I understand things.
In grad school, I used to take the slideshows that the professors would do, and then I would rearrange the slides into a better to fit my understanding better. And then I would redo an outline, and then I would post it to our like student reference Google Doc so people could use it.
Wow. I didn't do anything like that. I would just like rewrite my notes.
I couldn't learn otherwise. I'm like, here are some slides, and I would just take each slide as like one individual fact of randomness. Yep. But if I could put them together in a cohesive manner.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I have like I can learn off a note card the definition of what the CNS is. Yeah, but my brain has trouble connecting. Okay, how are these all related?
Right. I don't think that's together. Abnormal in the neurodivergent community.
No, definitely not.
And in the dyslexia community.
And it's why we ask so many why questions and why people hate us. Because neurotypicals take why questions as like a questioning of their authority. But we ask so many why questions because we need to understand the full system in order to get it. You can't just give me little parts of it and be like, I'll tell you how these all connect at the end. It's like, oh, these are all very abstract, separate concepts.
Right. And I also need to know why it's important.
Yes. Why should I care about it?
Why do I need to care about this fact? Not just because you told me to care about it, but...
I'm the same way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to know why we do something. Otherwise, I'm going to think it's just an abstract rule.
I'm going to forget it
up
in a second.
Yeah, and I'm not going to care about it. But if you're like, you need to wash the beans off before you use them because the juices are what hurts your belly, I'm going to wash those beans off.
I did not know that.
I think that's true. That's
I wash the beans because
like canned beans.
My mom told me to wash the beans.
I think it's because the juices are really what hurts your belly the most when it comes to eating beans.
You just take a little piece of Gas X before you eat them.
But also wash your beans.
Wash your beans.
Wash your beans.
Are you ready for the bod?
No, because first we got to say goodbye. Remember?
Oh, son of a bitch.
Kind of like end this first.
Yeah. We can't talk about beans all day, Grace.
Oh, sorry. I just can't help myself. Beans and lobster. This is almost coming out to be a full Maine supper.
We just need some Allen's coffee brandy and brown bread. Brown bread.
And some snappers. A real surf and turf.
That is a real surf and
Snappers are hot dogs, by the way.
They're with a red casing, and they're very weird, but they're very yummy.
They're Maine specific.
They're very Maine specific. Brown bread is
disgusting.
Who are you?
I'm me. I've always
brown bread is amazing. It's bread in a can.
You made it last time. Remember, we did our real Maine dinner, and you were like, "This isn't very good."
It is a little dry.
Challenge me on it.
Okay. You're supposed to like it.
I don't though. So
it's a delicacy.
Anyway, were you going to say something about snappers or no?
I'm trying to end the podcast.
Oh, okay. All right. Let's end this thing.
Yep.
This has been Weirds with Feather. A very ADHD podcast. A very adjacent podcast.
Yeah.
It's podcast adjacent.
Yeah.
It's almost, in some ways, it mimics a podcast, but in other ways, it's just us talking in a room.
Yeah.
It's just us.
If you liked this for some reason.
Yeah, what's going on? See a doctor.
Yeah, no. No. Please follow and subscribe on Apple Podcast, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Playlist, I think. Any of the podcast facilitating applications. You can also follow us on Instagram. We post polls with almost every episode, if I can remember.
Sometimes.
And then we are also have a lovely Facebook group with people who are super responsive and really supportive and nice.
Yes.
You can also email us at weirdsofeather@gmail.com. Send in your warm-up
Lobster facts.
Yeah, if you got lobster facts, I'll take them. If you have a different way of categorizing and organizing the nervous system, I would love to see that.
Yep.
I would also appreciate if you have a warm-up question, you want to send that one in, go for it. Or if you just have any questions or comments, feel free. We love getting emails.
Yeah, we keep doing our warm-up questions at the beginning of the episodes, and then we were thinking, like, if listeners have questions about us or about anything, really, just things you're wondering, like, do kids play Manhunt anymore? Yeah, just send us in your questions, because they're fun. It's fun to have like a little warm-up question at the beginning. It kind of gets us going, and thought it'd be a fun way for you guys to low stakes participation.
Yeah,
we're not asking you to write out a million paragraphs.
Yeah, just
and make
a
it perfect.
Quick
just
little
like
question.
Yeah, if you're just like, hey, are slugs real? Just let it.
I will find out.
Yeah, and we'll answer your question.
Yep.
So send it in.
Lastly, if you would like to support us financially, we do have a Go Buy Me a Coffee account at KO-coffee
FI KO-FI. It's in the show notes.
Yes. This is obviously non-obligatory. Any little tiny bit helps, even if it's pennies. It goes all back to the podcast, but also you don't have to do it. There's inflation. There's like a food crisis in the UK right now. I get it.
But if you're like a secret billionaire listening to this podcast, and I know you're out there listening, because obviously this is like the best content money can buy.
Yeah.
If you are a secret billionaire, you should buy us a coffee or a few, I would say, because look at all this work we're doing for you.
It's for you.
Yeah. And
you're the billionaire.
You're just sitting in your ivory tower, consuming this, and then going about your billionaire business. And we've had enough. We want our payment. Yeah. So if you're a secret billionaire, pay us. If you're just a regular folk, if you
do your best if you can, and if you can't, that's okay.
Yeah,
we get it. Everybody's in a different place.
Yeah, that's still your best. And
we appreciate you can support us by liking our posts and following and just listening.
Yeah,
is also very appreciative.
Maybe tell us we have nice hair or something in place of monetary contribution.
I'd take that any day over money.
Yeah,
someone wants to tell me that I have nice hair.
You do have nice hair.
Thank you.
It looks luscious.
I washed it.
It looks washed. It looks clean.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll take compliments.
Yeah.
Check your compliments at us. Change your compliments. Whatever.
Anyway, let's get on with our bird.
Let's do this bod.
So today's bod.
I want your bod.
Want your bod. It is the common murre. I think it's called a murre.
How do you spell it?
M-U-R-R-E. Could be a murre.
Murre?
I'm calling it a murre.
Murre.
This little guy, mostly in North America, looks almost like a penguin, but it's not a penguin. It can fly, not very well. It's a better swimmer. And then for its size, the common murre has the most densely packed nesting colonies of any bird species. And sometimes the nests are so close together that the adults who are like sitting on their eggs are like touching other birds on both sides.
I don't like it.
Like
Too crowded.
close-knit neighbors.
Yikes.
You got to be like your neighbors real well.
Yeah, I'm not interested in being that kind of bird.
So this call, it has squeals of chicks, but then the main call is the trumpet of the adult.
All right, let's hear it.
Here we go. It sounds like Chewbacca.
Yes, it does. Sounds like a chimp trying to like open a can of peanuts.
Right. He's like, God damn it. It sounds like a Muppet that didn't quite make it to the Muppets, and he's upset about it.
Like a Muppet with his mouth sewn shut.
Yeah. Like if someone put duct tape over Gonzo's mouth.
A silenced Muppet.
Poor Gonzo.
Poor Gonzo. R.I.P. Gonzo.
I didn't know just like moaning was a bird sound.
Apparently it is.